The roar of his guitar once shook arenas across the world, but now silence has replaced the sound. Brent Hinds, the heart and soul of Mastodon's groundbreaking riffs, has played his final note after a sudden motorcycle crash in Atlanta. His funeral drew fans, friends, and rock legends together in grief and in celebration of a life that changed metal forever. The sun was setting over Atlanta, but the city felt darker than usual. On that day, the heavy metal world stood still. The place chosen for Brent Hinds' funeral quickly filled with people, some in black leather jackets, others in plain suits, and many wearing Mastodon t-shirts that had faded from years of use. Everyone came together for the same reason, to say goodbye to the man whose music had changed their lives. Outside the venue, fans placed flowers, candles, guitar picks, and even vinyl records of Mastodon albums as a tribute. The sidewalk became a sea of memories. Photographs of Brent performing on stage, drawings made by fans, and handwritten notes with words like, "Thank you for the music," and "Ride free, Brent." As the casket arrived covered in dark roses and decorated with symbols of music, the air grew heavy. The crowd went silent. Some bowed their heads, others raised their hands in a quiet salute, as if offering one last applause for a man who had given them unforgettable music. The sound of muffled sobs mixed with the occasional strum of a guitar as a few fans quietly played Mastodon riffs outside. It wasn't just a funeral. It felt like a farewell concert, a gathering where grief and music blended into one. Brent's legacy, a guitarist who redefined heavy metal. To understand why so many people were heartbroken, you have to understand who Brent Hinds was. Born in Alabama, Brent grew up with a love for music that was raw and pure. He wasn't the kind of guitarist who followed trends. He carved his own sound, a style that was aggressive yet emotional, technical yet soulful. He brought a unique flavor to Mastodon's music, blending heavy riffs with haunting melodies that could transport listeners into another world. Brent co-founded Mastodon in 2000, and together with Troy Sanders, Bill Kelleher, and Brand Daler, he helped shape one of the most important metal bands of the 21st century. Mastodon didn't just play music, they told stories. Their albums were filled with deep concepts, exploring themes of life, death, mythology, and human struggle. And at the heart of it all was Brent's guitar. His playing gave Mastodon its signature sound, wild, unpredictable, and deeply emotional. Songs like Oblivion, Blood and Thunder, and Curl of the Burl carried his fingerprints. Every riff was a part of his soul. But Brent wasn't just a musician, he was a performer. On stage, his tattoos, long beard, and wild energy made him unforgettable. He could go from playing the most brutal riff to delivering a soft, melodic solo that sent shivers down the spine. Fans didn't just watch him play, they felt him. This is why his funeral wasn't just about saying goodbye. It was about remembering a man who gave the world music that will never die. Funeral highlights, who attended and what was said. The funeral in Atlanta was filled with people from every corner of Brent's life. His family sat at the front, holding each other tightly, their faces showing both pain and pride. His Mastodon bandmates, Troy Sanders, Bill Kelleher, and Brand Daler, were among the first to speak. Troy's voice broke as he described Brent not just as a bandmate, but as a brother. He said, "We built this band together. We built our lives together. I can't imagine stepping on stage without him, but I know every note we play from now on will carry his spirit." Bill Kelleher added, "Brent wasn't just a guitarist. He was an artist, a storyteller, a wild soul. He lived life his way, and that's why we loved him." Then came Brand Daler, the drummer, who shared a memory of Brent from their early days. "We were broke, sleeping on floors, eating gas station food, but Brent would still pick up his guitar and play like he was on the biggest stage in the world. That's who he was. Music wasn't his job, it was his life." Other rock legends attended too. Members of bands like Metallica, Slayer, and Mastodon's close collaborators sent tributes. Some were present in the room, while others recorded heartfelt video messages. Lars Ulrich from Metallica said, "Brent was a guitarist who reminded us all why we fell in love with heavy music in the first place. He played with fire, with passion, with truth." The most emotional part of the funeral came when a close friend wheeled in one of Brent's favorite guitars and placed it beside his casket. It was the instrument that had created so many iconic riffs, now resting next to its master for the last time. Music as a tribute, the sound of farewell. No funeral for Brent Hinds could be complete without music. As part of the ceremony, several musicians performed in his honor. An acoustic version of Oblivion was played, leaving the entire room in tears. The stripped-down version revealed the raw emotion behind the song, and people wept quietly as the melody echoed through the hall. Later, a group of musicians gathered to play Blood and Thunder. It wasn't loud like it usually was at concerts, but it carried the same power. It felt like Brent was there, his riff still alive, still shaking the walls. Fans also joined in outside the venue, turning the sidewalk into a spontaneous jam session. Dozens of guitars strummed together, some perfectly in tune, others a little rough, but all filled with love. Strangers hugged, cried, and sang Mastodon lyrics into the night. Music became the language of grief and healing. Every chord was a thank you. Every note was a goodbye. Worldwide tributes. Fans and musicians. Remember, Brent's death wasn't just felt in Atlanta. It sent shockwaves across the globe. On social media, hashtags like Rip Brent Hinds and Ride Free Brent trended worldwide. Fans shared photos of concerts they had attended, tattoos inspired by his art, and stories of how his music helped them through depression, loss, or loneliness. One fan wrote, "When I was at my lowest, Mastodon's music saved me. Brent's riffs gave me strength when nothing else could. Today, I feel like I lost a friend." Musicians across genres also paid their respects. Dave Grohl of Foo Fighters shared a post calling Brent a true innovator, a mad genius on guitar, and one of the kindest souls I ever met.